Tacos are a family favorite. Want to know how to make your tacos even healthier? Join us to learn how to make Mediterranean-style tacos. We are going to be making some really good recipes today to continue with Going Med, transitioning to the Mediterranean diet. So today's focus is going to be on changing our protein. Now we want to start changing our protein to be leaner meats and definitely include a lot of those plant-based protein sources like your beans, nuts, legumes, things like that. And if we think about when we see the MyPlate is only about a quarter protein, and that can be your plant-based protein. But a lot of times you think about going to a nice restaurant for dinner and you get a big steak and it's the entire half of your plate. We really want to try to cut back on that and add more vegetables to help really fuel our body and give our body the nutrients that it needs. So today we are going to be making mushroom beef tacos, and we are also going to be making an avocado salad. Now, we are amid a pandemic, so there is limited meats in our grocery store right now. So when I was preparing for this recipe, the one thing I could not find was some ground beef. So they did have ground turkey, which we will be using that today as a substitute. Personally, I'm a beef girl. I prefer to choose the really lean ground beef, a 97%, or even leaner than that if you can find it. I enjoy the flavor of that, but you can absolutely do ground turkey or ground chicken, or just do mushrooms, which we'll be talking about today when we dive into this. So we'll go ahead and get started. Our first step in preparing our mushroom beef burger, or beef tacos, is adding the mushrooms. So we actually have our pan here. I have had it on low just to get the pan warm, and you don't want to put any oil or anything in the pan. We're going to put the mushrooms in there by themselves completely. So this is about 4 cups of mushrooms, or 8 ounces. So think about when you go to buy mushrooms in their little container, it is actually already in an 8-ounce container. So when you are purchasing your mushrooms, you just need to buy 1 container of mushrooms and you'll have exactly what you need. And I have taken these and I have chopped them up really finely to really make them blend in with our meat. So when you get them nice and chopped up as fine as you can, that will help to blend it, and you can disguise it in your meals for your family. Hopefully you can fool them. So that's going to have to sit for about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm going to pump it up just a little bit to get it going. And we'll just let that start to cook down, and we'll move on to our next steps for that. So we're going to jump over next to our avocado salad, which is very simple. It's only a few ingredients. So here we have, we actually only have about 3 ingredients for this recipe. And we also have a lemon and some paprika. So we've got avocado as kind of the base of this. And then we have corn. Now, fresh corn is always best, but if it's not in season, which it's not right now, then you can use frozen. And to me, frozen has just as great a flavor as fresh. I prefer frozen over canned. And we actually have seen an abundance of frozen vegetables in the grocery stores at the moment. Canned, not so much, but we have tons of frozen vegetables. So I have frozen corn that I have heated up in the microwave with just a little bit of water. And then I have 1 chopped tomato. And they had some really beautiful tomatoes in the grocery store right now as well. So I have already cut up two small avocados. You want 2 large avocados. So I had 2 small ones, so I'm going to add 3 in here, and this is just another small. and I'm gonna show you guys how to chop up this avocado. So the first part is to go in with your knife very carefully and cut it around the outside. Then you can just rotate it and you've got two beautiful halves. So next, I like to take a knife and just make little slits. Now very carefully, you don't want to go in too deep because your fingers are underneath the skin of that avocado. So you want to go just lightly. And I've seen a couple different ways that you can do this. One way is to flip it upside or inside out. I like to just take a spoon and just scoop out the chopped avocado. It's already cut into your nice little pieces. Now, depending on how ripe your avocado is, it could be difficult to get that out with a spoon, or it could be really mushy trying to do it that way. So this one is actually the perfect amount of ripeness. You just want to lightly feel and see if the avocado, if your finger can move in with the outside of the avocado. That's how you know when it's ripe. Next, and I'm going to do this very carefully, we're going to take that seed out. So the professionals will take this knife and just slam it into the seed and twist it. I want to go a little bit slower, so I'm just going to gently tap it, and then you just twist, and you have your seed out. Nice and easy. Take that off there, throw it in the ground, plant it, or maybe toss it away. And same thing for this one. So cutting it longwise first, and then cutting it horizontally. And then you take your spoon and you just scoop that on out. All right. So next, we are going to add in our other ingredients. So I'm going to take, kind of got the ends of these avocados in there. I'm just going to take those off if I can get. Next, we're going to add our tomato. So this is just one chopped tomato. And we are going to add our corn. So I did about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of frozen corn. You want to have about as much corn as you have tomatoes. So give that a nice mix all together. And it just has really beautiful color. This is great for the summertime. And it's gonna go really nicely with our tacos. Personally, I love to top my tacos with this mixture, but you could just have it on the side as just like a little side dish. And then last step is to add our lemon. So the lemon helps to keep that avocado nice and green. After a little while, it can start to turn brown. So we're just gonna cut that lemon in half. I've got my little lemon juicer here. You can absolutely do this with your hand, but we're just gonna squeeze that juice all over. And there's no salt or pepper on this. You can absolutely add some seasonings to your own taste that you like. But this is just simply lemon juice, fresh vegetables, and a little bit of paprika. So we're gonna finish this off with just that little bit of paprika for some extra color. Get that to the end there. And this is just such a pretty dish to serve to your family. And that is it for our avocado salad. So we'll go back to our mushroom tacos and finish those up.
You're out for an evening on the town. Finally a chance to relax and forget that you left your front door completely unlocked. Fortunately, you just installed a security system from Star Communications. With just your cell phone, you can check on your house, lock it down, light it up, and get back to relaxing.
You forgot to put Buster in his crate.
Unfortunately, we can't help with that. security and automation from Star Communications. Call today to find out more.
All right, welcome back. So we just got our mushrooms complete, and they're nice and sauteed, no oil or anything, just dry in the pan, and those are finished. So next we're gonna add our onions. So we're just gonna do a little bit of olive oil or any vegetable oil of choice. And our pan is still nice and hot, so that won't take very long to heat back up. Perfect. We're gonna add in our onion. Now this is just one onion. And we will let that saute nicely. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. We just wanna get that onion coated in that oil. And you can see I didn't add very much oil. It was just enough to really coat the bottom of the pan. We're not frying our onions. We just want to help give them flavor for when they saute. So we'll let those evenly spread out, and we'll let those cook for just a couple minutes. And then up next, we are going to make our taco seasoning. So we'll shoot over here and prep that. So this is homemade taco seasoning. This is something, if you're used to buying those little taco seasoning packets at home, this is a great way to just have this on hand. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it. It's mostly things that you might already have in your kitchen to make this. So the first step is to add our chili powder. Now we have about 1/3 cup of chili powder, and I like to just throw this in a jar. You could absolutely put this in a Tupperware container or even a little sandwich baggie. But I just have a million of these jars laying around my house and at my office. So I went ahead and grabbed one of those that has a nice screw top lid we will throw together. So first is our 1/3 cup of chili powder. Hopefully that will funnel down. This one to be a little difficult, so we'll just use the bowl as our extra support. Next we will have paprika. So we've got 3 tablespoons of paprika here. See how well I can do at pouring. Little mess, it's okay. Doesn't have to be exact. Up next we have our cumin. So this is 3 tablespoons of cumin. And we have a tablespoon of oregano. You can use Mexican oregano for a little bit of extra spice. I could not find that in our grocery stores, so regular oregano will work as well. And we've got a tablespoon of black pepper. And the last thing is just cayenne. This is a teaspoon of cayenne. Cayenne can be very spicy, so if you like a little bit of extra spice, you can do extra. Or if you don't like spice at all, just omit the cayenne completely. So now I've just added the lid on top of our jar and just shake it. So this is what's great about using a jar or a Tupperware container, or even a bag, a sandwich bag you can shake nicely as well. We don't need a ton of this. We just need a few tablespoons of this in our tacos. So you have plenty left over to make tacos later at home. All right, we're gonna take a brief break and then we'll be right back to finish up with the rest of our tacos.
Sweetie, will you turn that down, please?
Keep life exciting, even when it's not. Watch TV everywhere from Star Communications.
Hey folks, so we've got our onions complete over here and they look really nice and caramelized. We're gonna start adding the rest of our ingredients to finish up these tacos. So next we are going to add in our taco seasoning that we just prepared. So we only need 2 tablespoons of this. If you want more, go for it. If you don't want quite as much, it's up to you. This is your recipe. I like the full 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna add all that in there. And we're also going to throw in just a little bit of water because that will help to make our seasoning a little bit more of like, I guess, a sauce to coat the rest of our ingredients. So just a little bit of water, just not even to cover the entire bottom of the pan. And we are also going to add in a few tablespoons. So this is 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. And this will start to cook down and mix with the rest of our ingredients. All right, so next we have our ground turkey, since I couldn't find beef, but it's up to you. Ground turkey, ground chicken, ground beef, whatever you choose. You could also just go for more mushrooms if you want it to be fully vegetarian. So blend all that together, and you might have to start adding a little bit more water here as you start to add more ingredients, because you want to fully coat all the ingredients that are in your dish. And then our last step is to add those mushrooms. Mushrooms don't really seem to have a ton of flavor. They kind of take on the flavor of whatever you pair them with. So that is why this is such a great recipe to kind of hide some vegetables into your dinner, and that way nobody really knows that there's mushrooms in there. There's extra veggies. So I think I might add just a little bit more water. It's starting to look really good, great color, and it smells amazing. It smells like Taco Tuesday or Thursday, whatever day it is at your home. All right, so that's pretty much it. It's very simple. You're gonna throw these in with your tacos next. I like to add, like I mentioned, our avocado salad on top. Another thing that we do a lot in my house when we make tacos is I like to add roasted broccoli. So I'll throw broccoli in the oven or in an air fryer and just get it really nice and crisp. And that way it gives your tacos a nice crunch that you might enjoy, so a little bit of a different texture, and it's still very healthy. You're adding vegetables, and our goal is to reduce so much meat in our diet and start to add a lot more vegetables, because what we see is that the majority of our diet is filled with those carbs and is filled with those really fattier meats. So this is a great way. You're still getting your meat in there for people who really want that for their meals. And you're also cutting it in half with some mushrooms. So you're adding a lot of those vegetables and pumping up those nutrients. And for our tacos today, I did buy some corn tortillas. So if you're using corn, that is a great way to choose a whole grain. And that way we're getting a whole grain in here. We're getting our vegetables and we're getting our protein. And you can absolutely top it with a little bit of cheese to get some dairy, and you've got a full healthy plate right here. So here's our delicious tacos that fit into our healthy My Plate. Thank you guys for joining us today. I can't wait to see you guys next time as we transition to going med. Have a great day.